Paige. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time ever tuning in, like I said, my name is Paige. I am 26 years old and I recently left my marketing job of 4 years in the US and moved all the way to London to pursue a master's degree. Since I moved here, I've been vlogging my new experience abroad and the response has been overwhelming. I'm so excited that you guys are so excited about these videos and I'm having such a fun time making them. I was also so surprised to see that a lot of you all have questions, a lot of questions already about this experience. I have only been in London for 3 weeks. It just made 3 weeks today. I mainly pulled the ones that I know that I can answer right now. A lot of you all had really good questions, but there were some that I feel like I need to be here a little bit longer before I can give you a proper answer. So I have the questions here on my phone. Here we go. Where and what are you studying? So I'm studying for my master's in strategic marketing at the University of Greenwich. How many universities did you apply to and what made you choose the University of Greenwich? So I applied to 3 universities and I got accepted to all 3, but I ultimately chose the University of Greenwich for several reasons. Number one, which is probably the most important, the University of Greenwich had a strategic marketing master's program that had a January start date. And I knew that I had to start in January because I was very afraid that if I had to wait until September 2019, I would find some way to back out. And that's just the truth. The university had great rankings as far as their marketing programs, and I read a lot of reviews from students and everyone just seemed to be really pleased. I really like the location. Greenwich is not super far from central London. I can just hop on the tube and get there pretty easily. And Greenwich is just a beautiful neighborhood. Like, I love this area. It's so nice. And I just felt a really good vibe from the staff, honestly. Whenever I was sent an email, they were super responsive. And of course we have this like 6-hour time difference, but they responded so quickly. They were so helpful, gave me all of the answers that I needed, and it just made me feel so comfortable. And yeah, it was not a difficult choice at all. By the way, please excuse my hoarse voice. I have not been feeling very well, but this Q&A must get done. How does the application process differ from applying for post-grad in the US? So I've never applied for a postgraduate program in the US, but I would just assume that it's pretty similar. My process for applying to UK universities was like this. I got online, I filled out the online application form. With the application form, you have to submit a personal statement, 2 reference letters. They could be like a work reference, education reference, and I also had to submit my undergraduate transcript and a copy of my passport. What I love most about applying for grad school in the UK was that there was no GRE or standardized tests. Your girl is not a fan of standardized tests, okay? They're just not my thing. And if I'm not mistaken, that's like a requirement for most US postgraduate programs. So I was really happy that I got to avoid that. Why did you choose to study abroad in London? What about London specifically attracted you? Everyone who knows me knows that I have always said, I have to move to London one day. I have to figure out how I'm gonna get there and make it my home. Somehow I fell in love with the city way before my first visit in 2016. Did I actually think I was going to make this little dream a reality? Not at all. No, not even for a second. I felt like I missed my beat in undergrad with the whole study abroad option, and it just seemed way too far-fetched to just drop everything and move to London now that I was an adult, you know. However, I was at a really weird place in my life. I was feeling completely unfulfilled at my job, comfortably unhappy, as someone perfectly put it for me one day. It just seemed like the years were just passing me by and I was stuck. I feel like in the last 6 months leading up to my decision to move to London, every time I was catching up with a friend, they were telling me about this risks they were taking or these chances they were taking to simply create a life that they loved. And I was envious because I just felt like, why can't I do that? Why is it so difficult for me? I had a boyfriend who was preparing to move to Africa to further his career. And finally I was just like, Paige, playing it safe has never gotten you very far. What are you going to do for you now? You've tried to find happiness in all these external factors, in relationships, in your job. What are you going to do to make your own heart sing? Whew. Did you have an international advisor to walk you through the whole admissions process, or did you do all the research and applying on your own? So I did everything completely on my own. Once I made the decision in June, I started researching schools right away, and the application process started for me in July. So there was a lot of time between when I actually got accepted to January when I was to start, because like I was on it. I wanted to make sure everything was set in stone so that it was gonna happen for sure. My university did email me further down the line, I wanna say like November or October, I don't know, offering an international advisor actually, and I'm like, wow, well, I don't need this now. But there is help there for you if you need it, and there are plenty of online resources. I felt like I got a lot of my questions answered with a quick Google search. What is the UK student visa process like? So this will definitely be a dedicated video of its own, because I'm not gonna lie, the visa process stressed me out. There's so many steps, and you have to make sure you do it carefully and correctly, or you might get denied, and you don't want that. So yeah, UK student visa how-to video coming very soon. I'll break down the price, all the steps, everything coming soon. Do you plan to live in London after you finish your program? Do you plan on living outside of the US in general? If yes, what countries do you have in mind? So I've said this in a previous video, but I have always spent my entire life trying to plan out every single step ahead. And the only thing that has ever done for me is stress me out, make me a worrisome person, and it most often just held me back. So for once in my life, I'm trying this new thing, this brand new concept called going with the flow. So the answer is, I do not know. I don't know exactly what I plan to do after the program. I don't know where I'm going to live. And this is probably very surprising for anyone I know coming from me, because, you know, I'm such a planner, but I feel like this is one of those things that I have to figure it out as I go along, and just really take this year to decide what is best for me and what I want for me. I am also very aware that it is extremely difficult to get a work visa here in the UK, because you have to find a company that is willing to sponsor you, and it's very expensive from what I hear. And they also have to prove why they should bring in this person from abroad and spend all this money when there's all these applicants from here. However, it has definitely been done, and I'm not ruling any options out. Would I be willing to live in another country? Why not? Like I said, I'm not ruling anything out, so we'll see. Have you adjusted to the different lifestyle from back in the States? Are there any differences? I feel like I'm adjusting very nicely. Since I left one English-speaking country and came to another English-speaking country, I'm sure that adjusting for me is way different for someone who's coming from somewhere where they speak a different language, or the culture is like completely different. But don't get me wrong, there are definitely a lot of differences, and there are a lot more differences than I ever would have known just from, you know, popping in for a few days for vacation. Like, nothing compares to actually living somewhere. I'm starting to learn the different lingo and the way that they say things here. I actually have like a funny story. I was texting one of my friends who's British, and I think I was telling him that I went to a restaurant or I went somewhere, and he said, "Oh, how did you find it?" And to me, if someone asked me that back at home, how did you find it, means like, how did you locate the place? So I'm giving him all these details. Well, I hopped on the tube, and then I made a left, and then I did this and did that, and then finally it clicked in my head, because he was just going along with it. Finally, I was like, you weren't asking me how did I find it, were you? You were asking me how was it? Why you gotta be outside my window talking? Right outside the window. And like another one of my UK friends, she was texting me, and she said something like, "What you saying?" And I was taught that that means like, what's going on, where are you, things like that. It's just like, I don't know, they just say some weird stuff here, but I'm slowly catching on. I'm trying to learn. I'm having fun learning. Like, it's no big deal for me. I'm like, yeah, teach me more, please. I love it. I'm also getting used to the different products that are sold in the grocery stores, and getting around public transportation and the tap in, tap out process, that really had my head spinning at the beginning. Do you plan to travel throughout the UK and Europe while you're abroad? Yes. Exhibit A. Traveling from country to country when you're already over here is so much more affordable than when you're trying to come from the US. I have not announced this goal online yet, but I guess I am now because I know you guys are gonna hold me to it as soon as I say it, as soon as it leaves my lips. So my goal is to visit a minimum of 15 European countries while I'm over here. A minimum. So if I do more than that, awesome, but 15. I am counting the 2 that I just visited. I hope you guys all watched that vlog. So on my little scratch off map, I was able to scratch off Germany and little Czech Republic. And I can't wait till all of this is like in color. I'm really excited. Will you visit the US? So I don't have any plans right now to go home. I just don't. But I will be returning to the US at the end of March. I'll be going to Dallas because I'm a bridesmaid in my good friend's wedding. And I wouldn't miss it for the world. So Paige will be back in the US at the end of March. And that's the only sure plans right now. Ooh, I got this one a lot. I'm really interested in how you're funding your master's program. I know you previously said you're living off your savings. How did you save up? Are you also using any scholarships, financial aid, or fellowship grants? So that is correct. I am primarily funding my master's degree from my savings. After graduating undergrad in 2014, my mother, my lovely mother, convinced me that I should move home and just save while I worked my first career job. At first I was like, save? What do you mean? But that was probably the biggest blessing and the biggest gift she's ever given me, allowing me to live at home rent-free. So beginning with that first ever paycheck that I received in 2014, I started saving. So you know how you get bi-weekly checks, so 2 checks a month. I would spend 1 check and save the other. And I did that all the way up until I bought my car. I used some of the money to make a down payment on the car, but then I continued to save. I clearly couldn't save as much because I had a car note now, but I was still saving. I had no idea that these savings would one day go towards me getting a master's degree in London. No clue. My family and I have always seen education as an investment, and I believe that the money will be returned to me tenfold. And the experience, the abroad experience that I'm going to be getting, it's priceless. So with my savings, I'm able to pay for my master's degree and my accommodation all by myself with money left over. I did do a brief search for scholarships, but it seems like they are more available for people who will be beginning in September. I could not find anything for people beginning in January, but I know they're out there, so if you're starting in September, definitely look. Are you allowed to work? Will you only be in school or will you be working too? So on a student visa, you're allowed to work part-time up to 20 hours a week. I feel so blessed to be able to say that YouTube is currently my job. The income that I have made from YouTube actually played a major role in making all of this happen, and I am just so grateful. I can't even begin to explain. Is London more or less expensive than the US? Like groceries, restaurants, transportation? So I'm still trying to figure this one out myself. I mean, honestly, it feels like America is more expensive just because, like, and tell me if I'm wrong, guys, but for example, let's say I'm buying something from Primark and it's 12 pounds. I'm like, ooh, 12 pounds, that's not bad. Let me pull out my handy dandy currency converter and find out exactly how much I'm really paying. Then it's like almost $16. So you're like, ugh. So I don't know, the money, like, it's just not equivalent. So how do you know if it's more expensive there versus here? I don't know, because I'm not paying. I don't know. Have your fitness goals changed now that you're in London? Has it been easy or hard to stay on track eating healthy? Moving to a place where there are many different foods to try and their way of cooking may be different. I would say my fitness goals are the same, and that is to be as healthy and as active as possible. I never plan to go back to being the unhealthy person that I once was, and I'm glad that I experienced my weight loss, my health journey, you know, a couple years prior to making this move, because it probably would have been more difficult for me to start here, like in a new place where there are temptations to try all the new foods and go out and, you know, all of that. So I feel like I have the discipline that I need now to be able to enjoy things, but also know when it's time to chill out. I also really love that Europe doesn't use all the icky preservatives that we do in the US. So when I eat things here, I already just feel healthier. Do you miss having access to certain foods from back home in the Chi? If yes, which foods do you miss the most? Speaking of Chicago, you guys like my sweatshirt? You can't really see it in this video, but just know. And I actually bought this here. I have seen so many Chicago things. Like, this has nothing to do with the question, but you guys, they have so many Chicago themed restaurants here. Like, I have passed so many. Chicago Rib Shack, Chicago Pub and Grill. There's this place called the American Grill, and the logos are the Bulls, Chicago Bulls logo. I'm like, what is the obsession with Chicago? I mean, I get it, but wow, I was just really surprised. So to answer your question, I can't really say there's one food from home that I like really miss. I mean, I was trying to stay away from eating out anyway, so no, I mean, one food I do miss just from the US in general are my Power Crunch bars. If you guys have been watching my videos, my fitness videos, my health videos, you know how I feel about Power Crunch bars. They are not in the stores here. And I haven't really seen protein bars like that in the stores at all. But luckily I found this like UK website that's like bodybuilding something, bodybuilding warehouse, something like that. And they have Power Crunch bars. So I ordered them online once I got my UK card. And I'm so excited because I think they get here today. And I'm just gonna be like the Cookie Monster. I'd love to know what made you go to grad school after working for a couple years. So I had almost convinced myself that it was just too late for me. There was no way I could put my career on pause and do this. So finally, I just had to say, Paige. And she was like, what's up, girl? And I was like, you're only 26 years old. You don't have anything holding you back. You don't have a husband. You don't have any kids. You don't have any property. All you own is a car. And you easily got rid of that. So the time is now. The time is now. I actually like that I've gotten a few years of work experience because I can now apply that to my master's studies. So I feel good about my decision. And last question. Can we have a room tour? Y'all really want this room tour? I have seen this question a lot. Can we get the room tour you promised us? Where's the room tour? You guys, of course you can have a room tour. I actually think I'm gonna film that after this. So coming soon. And that is it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into my first London Q&A. I'm sure I'll do more in the future as I spend more time here and learn more and experience more. Thank you to all my day one subscribers, and thank you to all my new subscribers, and welcome to all my new subscribers from the UK. Like, a lot of you guys have left comments saying you've been living here all your life, but my videos still interest you and excite you, and that makes me happy. So thank you guys for watching. If there's anything else that you still want answered, feel free to leave it in the comments. So as always, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.